That's because I didn't have the microphone turned on. But now I do. I bet you can hear me just fine. Thank you, Susan, for saying something. I haven't said anything important yet, trust me. So nobody's missed anything.
Hi, Donna, Lainey, Dana, and Kirk.
Oh my! The gang is all showing up. How lovely is that?
And Jennifer.
And Jennifer, of course. Of course. I'm glad Jennifer's here. Jennifer needs to be here tonight. You'll know why in a minute. Um, but I'm really glad that she's here. Um,
Can barely hear you, says Donna.
oh, well, that might have been before I changed things.
Okay.
So, can you all hear me now? Thank you, Kirk. Thank you. Let's make it like I did it on purpose. And you know what it is? I get everything set up, and my note in front of me says check the mic. Says it twice. Says it twice. But it never actually says turn it on. So the first time I get it positioned right, and I up the bar on the sound so that I know you'll be able to hear me. And then just before I go on, I'm supposed to hit the little green light and turn the microphone on because I don't want it on. Well, we've all heard terrible stories, haven't we, of people who got caught saying things when they didn't know the microphone was on. So I just don't turn it on until I'm ready to go live, which I think is a habit I'm going to have to stop because you would think after all this time I would know to look down and make sure the light is on, and I didn't. So, my bad. My bad. Those of you who are having trouble hearing me, can you hear me now? Susan can hear me. Better for Donna. Okay, good. Good for Jennifer.
Susan says, let the goodness begin.
Oh, Susan, I love you. It's the note that's naughty. I like that. I may actually have to change something. Um, hold on, for reasons that are totally unclear to me. There we go. Photoshop just showed up in the middle of my screen, and I didn't ask it to be there.
It's called photobombing.
It's
Photoshop bombing.
Photoshop bombing.
There you
Yes.
go.
Okay. Clearly, something it wanted to be seen or heard, or I will acknowledge you, Photoshop. You're wonderful. I haven't used you in quite a while, but that's beside the point. Ah, yes, 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 yes. What else? Hi, Jefferson. Glad you're here. Okay, and Laney can hear me. I'm good.
You're good to go.
I'm good to go. So why don't we? Why don't I just jump into this thing?
Yes.
Um, because I really like it. I really like it tonight. Um, I have said several times, and I mean it. If you've got something that's really valuable that you would like to share with me or with everyone, or if you've got an idea for a talk, just let me know. Put it up on Facebook and let me know. So Jennifer, my darling Jennifer, posted this over the weekend, and she said in her post that this was her fervent prayer. Knowing that and knowing Jennifer, what I know is God has heard it. I just wanted to make sure that everyone here hears it because it's wonderful, it's powerful, and I pray it's prophetic. Here it is. It reads, and the people stayed home and read books and listened and rested and exercised and made art and played games and learned some new ways of being and were still and listened more deeply. Some meditated, some prayed, some danced, some met their shadows. And the people began to think differently and the people healed. And in the absence of people living in ignorant, dangerous, mindless, and heartless ways, the earth began to heal. And when the danger passed and the people joined together again, they grieved their losses and made new choices and dreamed new images and created new ways to live and heal the earth fully as they had been healed. I asked Jennifer if I could share this with you tonight, and she said certainly. Well, I think what I asked was if I could steal it, and she said that's what she had done. So I don't believe either of us knows who created it. Maybe God just did. Or an angel dropped it on someone's desk and they made a poster out of it, or the fairies flew it in. I don't know. What I do know is it leaves you feeling hopeful, doesn't it? It says that it all comes out okay in the end. A Hollywood ending, if you will. You can almost hear the music swelling in the background and see the sunset over the ocean. But it does more than that. It also gives you some hints about what you might be doing with your downtime and how that might just change your life. Let's take it apart so that we really pay attention to everything that it says, because it says a great deal. It begins, and the people stayed home. The people stayed home. They didn't go out to places where social distancing was impossible, and they didn't go out without masks because they hurt their ears or caused acne, or actually in most cases they didn't even need to wear masks because the people stayed home. And what did the people do when they stayed home? They read books and listened and rested and exercised. In other words, they didn't just stare into space or play endless hours of solitaire. They used the time to make themselves better, stronger, wiser, healthier. And it wasn't all self-improvement time while they stayed home. The people made art and played games. They expressed their creativity and they had fun. They did things that were fun. When was the last time you had fun? Just asking.
There's the story of it.
Ah, okay. We found the story of it. I'll get to that in a bit. And while all that was happening, the people learned new ways of being. See, my guess is that the people practice learning patience and focus and tolerance and something other than aggressive or passive aggressive behavior. That the people learned to be genuine, whatever that was for them, and the people were still. Stillness. And the people listened more deeply. Oh. Some meditated. Some prayed. Lord. Some danced. Lordy. And some met their shadows. Oh. See, I suspect as the people searched for things to do while they stayed home, the people got creative. After all, you can only do some things for so long before you find yourself needing to meditate or pray or dance. And should you meet your shadow during your quiet time, you might invite it to do any or all of those things with you. Getting to know your shadow is getting to know a part of you that many of us have never been introduced to, and so find a bit threatening. But we live with it all of the time, and it affects our life all of the time, so it probably isn't a bad idea to become acquainted with your shadow. Now we're getting to the really good part. And the people began to think differently. Well, you would, wouldn't you? Be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. Change your thinking, change your life. Where your attention is, your intention is. Need I go on? To begin to think differently is to change your perspective. To begin to think differently is to change your projections. To begin to think differently is to change the patterns and the prophecies for your life. And what happened when the people who stayed home began to think differently? The people healed. That's what the people did. They healed. And what else happened? Well, it shouldn't be a surprise, but in the absence of people living in ignorant, dangerous, mindless, and heartless ways, the earth began to heal. Have you seen the pictures of the air over Mexico City? The blue skies over Beijing. The unusually clean air in New Delhi. Have you seen the rare views of the hills around Los Angeles? Because the people stayed home, there were fewer cars on the road, fewer planes in the sky, and a whole lot less pollution from industrial and manufacturing plants. I also read somewhere that there were fewer asthma attacks and fewer premature births. Just saying. Interesting things happen when the people stay home. And when the danger passed and the people joined together again, remember, this will at some point come to an end. Like the lady sang in the song, we'll meet again. Don't know where, don't know when, but I know we'll meet again some sunny day. We will be together again. Everything in its time comes to pass. It doesn't come to stay. And when the people who stayed home came together again, they grieved their losses. We have all lost friends, loved ones, jobs, graduations, proms, opportunities, advancements, major life experiences, and more, so much more. So it is good to take time to acknowledge that and to grieve our losses, but not forever. Not to the extent that we homestead in our losses. Grieve our losses, yes. Allow those losses to define our lives. No, not in a negative way, no. We are more than that. We are greater than that. Our possibilities are not limited by crises. It is for us to claim the gifts in all of this and to move on. Everything, even the greatest curse, comes with a gift, if we will claim it. It's been promised. In Deuteronomy, it says, I set before you life and death, blessing and curse. Choose life. Choose the blessing that you and your children may live. And the people, we are told, made new choices and dreamed new images. Because in a renewed world, new choices must be made, new dreams must be dreamt, and new visions must be called forth. If the earth is healed, how do we keep it healed? How do we treat it now? What must we learn to do differently so that we do not always fall back on the old ways? So that we do not replicate the past, but rather visualize and create a new and better future. A future that supports all of us and at the same time supports the health and well-being of the planet. If we are saved, if the planet is saved, what do we do with this precious planet we have been given? What do we do with this precious life we have been given? It is so easy to fall back into old patterns and end up right back where we were before the people stayed home. Can we create a new way of being in our healthy new bodies on a healthy new planet? So, the people created new ways to live and to heal the earth fully as they had been healed. And I suspect that they all went down to the seashore and lived happily ever after. Now, I must tell you that my biggest fear is that this compilation of words is a lovely idea, something we can all agree would be just wonderful. But my fear is that in fact it is a fairy tale. A happily ever after story that will go into a book that will be written sometime in the future, if anyone is around to write books in the future, if there is a future. A book entitled How It Might Have Been. See, based on the actions of the past, we are, as a race of people, the human race, forgetful. We care in the moment. We talk about it, we walk about it, we make posters and we carry banners. We even write letters to our congresspersons. But when it is no longer convenient, no longer in our faces, or when our congresspersons ignore or bury it, when we are bored with whatever it is, or distracted by something or someone else, or just lose interest, we wander away. And historically, not much gets done or changed. And we return to the status quo, unchanged, without even being aware that we have done that. It's a slippery slope. Until the next time. Will we let that happen again? Will we become complacent again? Will we be lulled into a consciousness coma by promises and hope? Ernest Holmes once wrote, "Hope is good. It's better than despair. But it's a subtle illusion and an unconscious compromise." I know there are a lot of issues on the planetary table right now. The climate, the planet itself, the environment, without which nothing else will matter Anyway, we know we are on the edge of a planetary breakdown. Should we not be thinking about ways to circumvent that crisis? Racism. Because black lives matter and brown lives matter. Because all lives matter. Because we are one human race, regardless of our color. And should we not be taking a stand against any sort of discrimination? We are not different races. We are one race, the human race. We are different ethnicities. That is all. Our parents and grandparents, as far back as anyone can remember and farther than that, simply came from different places. To defend one, to take a stand for one, really is to take a stand for all. And unemployment, or employment in general. Because everyone who wants to work should be able to work and be paid decently and respected for the work that they do, whatever that is. So that they can live healthy, happy lives in healthy, safe neighborhoods and have healthy, happy families that live and play in those safe and healthy neighborhoods. And there's more. And what else? And what else? And, oh, yeah, COVID-19. Which appears to me to have partnered up with ignorance in a race against humanity. And right now, it isn't clear who is winning. The numbers are staggering. Some time ago, we passed the 58,000 lives lost in the Vietnam War. Doesn't that tell us something? And what can we do? They tell us that the numbers will continue to escalate unless we wear our masks if we go out. And the number one most important thing we can do, the most important and safest thing we can do, the thing that we can do that will bring the numbers down will be if the people stay home. Which kind of brings us back full circle, doesn't it? And folks, we can pray. Because prayer brings us closer to the unlimited, and the unlimited has answers. We can't individually fix all the things that need our attention in this world. But within and beyond this world, there is God, and with God, all things are possible. With prayer, we connect to a source that has ways and means far beyond our human ways and means, far beyond our human abilities, and far greater than our fears. With prayer, we acknowledge a higher source and a deeper well of wisdom. With prayer, we allow ourselves to be lifted out of fear and frustration, out of chaos, and into a place where we can think and have faith and trust and rely on a power that knows what we do not yet know. And the people stayed home and read books and listened and prayed. And out of their prayers came answers, solutions, new ways of being together, and new ways of thinking, and a brave new world. And it wasn't a fairy tale. It isn't a fairy tale. It's a very real tale, a very true tale of how it may yet be. What I was handed is this, so we can know from whence this came. It says it took Kitty O'Meara. I like that name, Kitty O'Meara, an Irish lass. Yeah, the redhead's thrilled. About 20 minutes to write a soulful description of the world staying at home during the COVID 19 pandemic. It took days for her words to become a global sensation attributed to someone else. That's kind of like the Marianne Williamson piece that they attributed to Nelson Mandela for so long. First widely shared on Facebook, then read by Deepak Chopra and mentioned in Oprah Winfrey's magazine, the poem begins with the line, say it with me, and the people stayed home. It goes on to imagine people using self isolation to read, listen, rest, pray, meditate, dance, and make art, and to emerge regenerated and healed. The work will be published as a children's book this fall. Oh, yay! And the words of "In the Time of Pandemic" have been set to music and used in video compilations by people all over the world. Yay! O'Meara, a retired chaplain and former teacher who lives with her husband and 5 dogs near Madison, Wisconsin, said she composed the verse as a way of coping with the stress of the pandemic. So she's one of those people who got creative. What are you doing with your time? I'm not saying you have to write something that's going to be, read on in Oprah Winfrey's magazine or read by Deepak Chopra or any of those things. Set to music and played all over the world on there. And again, I don't suspect she thought that's what was going to happen with her scribblings when she originally wrote it. So, what are you doing with your time? What positive, earth changing, you changing things are you doing? I know, I think it was the weekend before last that Kirk and Jennifer told us ahead of time that they would not be with us on Sunday because they were going to go for a Sunday drive. What a great idea! You don't have to stay in the house, to stay home. Get out and go for a ride. See the ocean, see the mountains. Talk to each other. The book you bought. 101 Ways to Look at the Sky. To look at the night sky. Um, it's a book about all the stuff that's up there at night. We look up and we go, oh, I think that's the Big Dipper, and maybe that's this is me, the Little Dipper, and I can always find Venus because that's my star. And Mars is pretty easy to find because it's the only one up there that's red. Other than that, I'm not real good at the night sky. But this one apparently is written for people like me and says that your baby finger is 10 degrees. And, if you do this, it's probably about 100 degrees. Now, I'm not sure how that math works because that seems flawed to me. But you get the idea. It's easy. Hold your finger up to the night sky and then go, go middle finger and index finger to the left and what that is. Wouldn't that be fun? I just think we bought the book. We can't wait to get it. And, no, it's not clear every single night. And then you find something else to do. Write something that will be read in Oprah's magazine. But what fun to stand out at night and go, oh, look, there's that and there's that. And one baby finger over, there's something wonderful. Great things we can do. Fun things we can do. We don't have to stay all wrapped up in television land. And they are doing a pretty good job, I think, of introducing new things for us so that we're not going, my favorite show has been over. It's not coming back until God knows when. Um, there are other things we can do. Go look at the night sky. Turn it all off and talk to somebody. If there's nobody right there with you, pick up the telephone. Trust me, a telephone call is still safe distancing. It is. I don't care how close you are to your phone, you are not that close to that person except in your heart. And heart space measures very differently. So,
Susan has something to say, and I have to ask Kendra what the ISS is.
okay. You reading the with these weeks going within? Is that because Susan has something beautiful written there?
Yeah. She met the most awesome person.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
A person, she says, that has taken her beliefs and actions to a whole new, higher level. Oh, wait. That would be me. Her. Susan. Yes. Oh, yeah. Oh, Susan, I would want you to just put no limits on that love. Because you're pretty phenomenal.
Tina's doing some animal stuff.
Great. Tina's doing some animal assisted therapy via video. See, you got to think outside the box, folks. We've been thinking a certain way for all of our lives. It's not wrong. It worked really well before. Or it didn't. But it worked. I mean, we're here. But in order to do something new, something different, something outrageous, you have to think outside the box you're in while staying inside the box you're in because the people stayed home. Jennifer says she's been enjoying the freedom to not be busy. Boy, isn't there something to be said for that? For just chilling? I mean, all of a sudden, if it's a really big deal to go to the grocery store, you don't even want to do that. What else can you do? Chilling. Oh, Dana. Held newborn. Yes. The new baby. The new baby. Yeah, isn't that interesting? When they're new like that, that's just everything makes them happy. Talk to me. Smile at me. Whatever you do, just go ahead and do that at me, and I'll smile back at you because I'm happy. I'm precious. And I'm not all tied up in the stuff you guys are all tied up in. It's Great Godmother is the title. Yes. Oh, there it is.
Grand
God.
Great grand.
Great grand. You're great. I'm sorry, you're great.
Yeah.
Great. Grand Godmother.
Yeah.
Oh. Gosh. Babies. Babies. Brenda got a new grandbaby. Or Jessica had a baby. Oh. How is that possible? Jessica's actually had, this is the third for her. How is it that we don't get any older? Wiser? Yes. Yes. Better? Yes. Older is a choice, I think. Dana's going to take all the titles. Okay, fine. You do that. So, what else are you doing? I mean, here we are. We've got a few minutes to talk. What else are you doing? I love this. Kitty O'Meara took about 20 minutes to write that beautiful piece that is now being read and shared and played and sung and, all over the world. Some people are dancing to it, I'm sure. I'm sure of that because she says to dance in there. So somebody made a beautiful poster out of it. What can you do with your thoughts? Can you craft them into something so that you can share it with the world? What I'm saying is, now is a great time to let your little mind kind of just play in the fields of what if. What if it's a dance? What if it's a book? What if it's a song? What if it's a picture? A photograph of something? What if? Just saying. There's power within you, a creative power within you that loves expression. Isn't this a great time to let it out? To let it play? Isn't it? What if? I know too many of us were taught when we were younger that you shouldn't say that way, you shouldn't move that way, um, you shouldn't. You're not good at it. You can't do that. And what happens is something in us kind of grabs onto that and sort of believes it just enough for us not to want to try again. Now, I know some of you are wonderfully creative and do some beautiful, beautiful things. But what if you tried doing something else? Creative. What if? Many of you heard my theory that it's kind of like the whole world is playing musical chairs, and that for many of us, if we just stood up and moved around and sat down in a different chair, we'd see the world in a whole different way, and we'd be different in the world from our new perspective. What if? What might you do that you've always wanted to do, or maybe just looked at and thought, boy, I wish I could do that? What might you do if you had a little extra time on your hands? If you stayed home? You know, Walmart will deliver almost everything. I don't know if we found anything yet that they won't deliver. We keep being surprised. Do you know they deliver cat litter?
Cheese.
They won't deliver cheese. Okay, well, that's because they can't guarantee delivery. Or almond milk. Okay, so we have to go out to get that. But they have art supplies. So does Amazon. And we know they deliver. Clay, pencils, paper, paint, yarn, popsicle sticks. Popsicle sticks. We had popsicle sticks delivered
Yes. To make fairy.
to make fairy furniture. Really, really. Well, CAC noticed that they didn't have a table. So they were obviously going to have to go out to eat. And since most of the restaurants are closed, she built them a little table in our fairy yard.
And on YouTube, there is a demo how to make out of hot glue and popsicle sticks a picnic table for fairies.
Just in case you didn't hear that, I want to repeat it because she's saying this. I'm not. You would expect something like this from me. CAC just said on YouTube there is a video that tells you how to make out of popsicle sticks and hot glue a picnic table for fairies. Okay? Got that? Now somebody made that video. What might you do? And make a video. What could you teach people? What could you teach people? You're all good at things, very good at a whole lot of things. I know that about you. Um, could you make a video and teach other people how to do what you do? Why not? That's thinking outside the box. Thank you, Kendra. And Laney's playing in the dirt. I love it. Isn't it fun to play in the dirt? Yeah, that's that's soul digging, don't you think? And may I suggest, Laney, that if you run out of things to do, you create a little area that's a fairy garden. It's so fun. It's so fun. Cac's done all the work. I'm every once in a while I go out and I ask them if it's okay if I put something into it, but she's done all the work. It's really her fairy. Well, it's the fairy's fairy garden, but she gets all the credit for it. We have a new toy. It's supposed to repel pests, and we have way more squirrels than anybody should have, and the big ones get destructive. The little ones we would, take inside and keep forever, but they don't stay little. They're like cats. They grow. Um, and the big ones, well, you've already heard me moan about the fact that they ate every single peach on the peach tree. We did not get even one. And I'm down to like three, maybe four avocados on the avocado tree, thanks to the squirrels. So we're trying to dissuade them.
And your artichokes.
Well, I can't even talk about the artichoke plant without choking.
And the oranges, the big, beautiful
Big
Valencia
oranges that big, navels,
navels.
navels. Um, roll and they must bowl with them because we found two of them now on the lawn, which is a way long place away from where the orange trees are. So all we can assume is that they're bowling
I
with them.
threw those down.
You threw those down.
Yeah.
You're the troublemaker.
They just ate the half of them.
Yeah, okay. My life. So, what can you do that's fun for you? Because I think it's got to be fun. That's, this wonderful piece says that she did this, trying to find the, as a way of coping with the stress of the pandemic. See, I think a lot of us try to keep it inside, and that's not going to do you any good. But just bursting out isn't going to do you any good either. Find a way to creatively express what's inside of you. You might meet your shadow, and you might dance, or both. Oh, Laney's going to build a fairy town in a wheelbarrow. Oh, what a great idea! Hi, Mark. Glad you're here. So, here's your assignment. I'm great at handing out assignments, aren't I? Notice that I rarely ever check on you to see if you've actually done it. So, for those of you that hate assignments, don't worry. Of course, you never know when I might start doing that. Checking on you. I have my ways, you know. Anyway, what can you do that is creative to express your feelings around what is going on in the world right now, particularly the pandemic and staying home. What can you do? Can you make a video? Can you make up a dance? What can you create? And allow that energy to become productive and creative in your life and to do some good for you to start with. And then who knows what else might happen. So,
Kirk is getting out his notebook.
Kirk, you're so good. You're so good. Have you always been this good, or has Jennifer just trained you? I think you've always been this good. I'm going to just leave it there. I think you've always been this good. You've been this good as long as I've known you. That's been quite a while. That's really been quite a while, hasn't it?
Dana wants a gold star on hers. On her what?
On her getting her assignment done, I think.
Ah, okay.
Mark wants to know if it's certificated. It could be. It could be.
Yeah,
It could be.
it is.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes, it could be. See, there's something for me to create, huh?
Sure.
Ha ha ha. You know how I like to do that kind of thing.
Certified by relevant spirituality.
Certified by relevance. Why can't I say relevant spirituality?
It's like
It's late. It's been a long day. Yes. It's Young Home Week, Tina. Nobody here is old. We're all very young and getting younger all the time. Okay, pals. So we are running low on time, and my wonderful assistant over here, the redhead, is going to be waving at me any moment now to tell me to pray. So I guess I better do that. It's fun getting ahead of her once in a while. I don't too often. Let's pray. And close your eyes if that's comfortable for you. Or just soft focus. But allow your attention to move within. Allow your mind to release any frustration, any busyness, and just be still. And know that you are one with God, one with the creative, unlimited, unbounded power of creation, one with love, peace, prosperity, wisdom, expression, wonder. How amazing you are. How creative of God to manifest itself in so many different ways, so many different shapes and colors and abilities to make this world, our world, such a wondrous place. And all of that creative ability lies within you because you are one with God. And God goes forth into expression each day as you. Each day finding ways to make the world a better place. Created in the image and likeness of paradise, this paradise each day evolves, changes, becomes, and each of us does the same. We are one with God. And there is the universal expression of God which handles all of the really necessary things, like providing air and gravity so that we fall down and not up. And then there is the personal, the interpersonal God that speaks to you in your dreams, through your thoughts, through your heart, and through your mind, that makes you the very special, unique, amazing person that you are. And so we claim now that each one of us, being part of the one, finds expression this week, finds a way to create in this world something that has never been before and will only be because we allowed it to be. Whether we find a new way to love or a new person to love or a new thing to love really doesn't matter. But that we find a way to express our love, that matters. And so I know for each of us this week we find delight in something we have not done before, at least not in the way that we do it this week. And we are thrilled and amused and better for having done it. We know who we are and where we come from. And we are thrilled at the way that expresses in us, as us, and through us, today, tomorrow, and forever. In deepest gratitude, we simply allow it to be so. And so it is. Amen. Oh, it's a good night. It is always good being with you, remembering with you. Well, I think Dana just said it very well. Have a creative week, everyone. Allow the God in you to express in new and exciting and fun ways. Allow the joy in you to overflow. May you recognize the holiness, the sacredness of your own being and find joy in it.